Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Paula Parker here. I'm going to lead you in a yoga practice today that helps us to open up our energy centers in our body. Those energy centers are called the chakras, and the chakra system is very important to the way that we process things, the way that we're able to be strong, the way we're able to be at center and solid with what is happening within ourselves versus what's happening outside of ourselves. Okay, so we all know that right now the world is a little bit crazy with this coronavirus pandemic, and what we want to be able to do is to stay centered, to stay calm, not to become anxious in spite of all of that stuff that's going on. Okay? I'd like to begin with a reading this morning, and it's titled Balancing on the Cusp. Your position as you begin your practice today will be down on your back, or you can also feel free to sit in a chair for this practice. Okay. And anyone who has any serious health issues, I do ask that you please be sure that you're cleared from your physician to be able to do movement before you take this practice today. And I'll be reminding you during our practice that you should listen to your own body and modify anything that you need to modify. If something doesn't work for you, I'll show you a couple of different levels, and we'll go from there, okay? So you're down on your back in a comfortable position or seated on your chair. Go ahead and close your eyes, please. And with your eyes closed, just let your attention turn in. Notice how you're feeling in your physical body. Notice how you're feeling within your emotions. And notice how you're feeling within your mental energy today. You feel calm within your mind. You feel anxious, feel worried. Okay, just identify how you're feeling. And then I'm going to ask that you set all of these awarenesses aside and take in the reading. We are on the brink of a spiritual renaissance in our post-industrial world, poised on the cusp of a new paradigm that has endless possibilities for new beginnings. In ever-growing numbers, we are becoming aware of an ancient, mysterious, spiritual reality of oneness. This mystery was never mysterious to the mystic or indigenous peoples who intuitively lived with the awareness that we are all linked together, people, plants, and animals, as creations of the divine. In our culture, however, we have been saturated with the almost universal belief in separateness, not oneness, which is why it is sometimes hard for us to see how we are all related. It's true that we look separate, but if we could see the energy fields within and emanating from us, we would see that our energy intermingles with all energies. Trees, teenagers, Tasmanians, tantrum-throwing toddlers, everyone, everything. It's an awesome idea, isn't it? It can also be a scary idea if our security rests in being separate or superior, or in being sure of the rules and realities. Nonetheless, energetic oneness is an actuality discovered by scientific research and is backed up by the laws of quantum physics. So like most of us, shares our author, I'm teetering on the cusp of the new paradigm, and although I believe in the concept of oneness, I neither know it nor experience it on a regular basis. One technique I use, shares our author, is to help myself move beyond the belief in separateness, is visualizing my energy dancing and mingling with both animate and inanimate objects, like energy soup. I also remind myself when I meet people going through my day that I and this person are one, just as our Creator said of He and His Father. I'm not sure how much progress I'm making, but I do feel more tolerant and connected much of the time. And I'm going to keep trying, she writes, because oneness is the essence of spiritual love. All right, so I'm going to join you down on the back. And if you're seated in your chair, I'm going to just throughout the practice today throw in a few ways that if you are seated on the chair, you can move your body. If you'd like, at any point, you can stop the video and do something for a longer amount of time if you really like the movement that's being done. And where the music does not really translate very well through the video, here, I've been having some trouble with my phone and my music. Feel free to pop on some soft music that you would like, something that's calming, something not too, too fast, so you can remain calm during your practice. Okay, good. So let's begin. Good. If you're down on your back, I'd like to have your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And we're going to start to do some pelvic tilts. Okay? As you breathe in, you're just in a nice neutral place within your spine. But on the exhalation, I'm going to ask you to flatten the small of your back to the mat and really squeeze through the front of your belly. You might even feel your legs and your hips and your buttocks getting involved in this movement to squeeze the belly. Now on your inhale, soften. Press the tailbone into the mat. That lets you expand your diaphragm and expands through the chest to draw the breath up. Exhale, flatten. Good. Inhale, press the tailbone into the mat. Now, if you're seated on your chair, you can do this in a seated position. You'll simply do the same thing that I'm asking of the folks down on their back, okay? So as you're inhaling, you're just in a nice tall spine, but as you exhale, you kind of curl the tailbone under and round a little bit to help flatten that space out of the back. And then as you inhale, sit yourself tall, lift a little bit through the chest and the chin. Okay, so doing pelvic tilts is very similar to doing what we call cat and cow flow, which is done on your hands and knees. Okay, so continue if you're on your back, and if you're on your chair, continue with this movement. And we're just going to work our way today from the bottom of the tailbone, that's where our first energy center is, and moving along up to the crown of our head. You will probably notice that many of the positions in the movement that we do target more than just one chakra, one energy center. Good. So let's come back in with our inhalation to a neutral place in the spine. And now from here, we're going to begin to open left and right, so a nice rocking with those knees. Taking this flow with a very slow pace here. And if you're lying down on your back, notice how this simple movement can really make you feel soothed, comfortable, relaxed. And now let's bring ourselves back to the center, please. Good. From here now, the soles of the feet are going to come together, and we're going to allow the knees to open out to each side. So we did some movement or flow with those first two series of movement. And now we're just going to come into stillness for a moment so that we can really focus on the base of the tailbone. If you're someone who is a very visual person, feel free to focus on the color red. That is the color of the root chakra. And then just let your breath be long and slow and full. Now again here, please listen to your body. If you need to support yourself, if you're down on your back and this butterfly stretch feels really intense, you can prop something up under the outer legs to help rest down onto. Allow those inner leg muscles to release and relax at their own time. And as always, you can make the choice with any of our movement to modify it, to shorten the length of time that we may be holding, or to skip something altogether. So truly, please do pay attention to what works best for you. If something's not comfortable, feel free to just not do it altogether. Good. Let's take one more breath here. On the exhale, open your mouth and try to make the sound like HA, like you're sending that breath out. That's called a cleansing breath. And sometimes at the end of a pose or a stretch, I'm going to invite you to take that that breath, okay? All right, bring your knees back up to the center, and once again, let's just release having those knees out to the side with a little rocking here. Good. Come on back to the center now. And as you're ready, give yourself a big breath. On the exhale, draw your left knee into the chest. So if you're seated on your chair, you can do this by lifting the foot up off the floor and trying to draw that knee in, just like we're doing here on our backs. You could also, if you're seated on your chair, come to a standing position. So we're moving up further along the body here and trying to open now into the sacral chakra, which is the energy center of the pelvis. It's a very emotional center, or I should say we hold a lot of emotions here. So just by drawing that knee in, we're squeezing into the front, we're opening into the back part of this energy center. And now we're going to start to bring that left knee around to some circles. All right, so this is where if you're seated on your chair, it may be easier to come to a standing position and hold on to your chair for support. When that knee comes around to the center again, pause here and let's change the direction. Circle that knee around the other way. Usually when we're focusing on balancing, bringing balance to our energy centers, there is a lot of rotation, and you'll see some of that today during your practice. This is the way our energy spins within our body. It's like a vortex, so it is spinning, and it's a really great way for us to bring balance to those areas. Okay, As your knee comes back, once again, draw deeply into the chest. And before we release that foot, I'm going to have us take a cleansing breath again. So draw in through your nose. Send out through your mouth like you're saying H-A. Good. Now here, please lift that foot to the sky. If you're seated on your chair, just stretch your leg out straight in front of you. We're going to flex into the heel and lower down on the exhale. Again, so if you're seated on your chair, you can do this sitting, or you can come to standing, okay? Point your toes, inhale and lift the leg. And then flex the heel, lower down on your exhalation. So regardless of your position, whether you're prone, seated on your chair, or standing, you can do this flow. Good, lift and lower once again. And when you bring that foot down this time, let's just pause, be soft in that leg, and notice how the movement has affected the body. Good. Take a bend into that left knee, please, and place your left foot on the floor. When you're ready, draw your right knee in toward the chest. And just feel that nice stretch along the back of the buttock and into the lower back area. Maybe if you're on your back and you're able to draw that knee in deeply, you're feeling a little squeeze into the belly. Okay. Let's soften out of that hold into the chest and begin to bring a nice rotation with that right knee. Circling around in a slow way so that you allow your body to be safe and to open a little bit at a time. As the knee comes around again, draw it in toward the chest, give it a squeeze, and then we're going to change our direction of rotation, circling around the other way. And you may or may not be noticing that your body is different from side to side. And it's just the way our bodies are. We're not exactly the same left and right. We're asymmetrical, which means different left and right. So we can have an awareness of that, and we can just let that go. Try not to judge the fact that you're different on the left from the right. Okay. As this right knee comes back toward the center, draw it in, give it a big squeeze. And then as you're ready, take a big cleansing breath. Inhale when you're ready, lift that right foot to the sky, flex into the heel and lower down on the exhalation. Again, so this will be the same whether you're seated on a chair or if you're standing. Inhale, lift the leg, flex the heel, lower it down. And I don't know if you can see it very clearly. I'm going to try to point, but there's a banner that's hanging from the beam here. That's the chakra, the whole chakra system. There's a color, there's a symbol, there are different sounds if you were to do chanting, different sounds for each of the energy centers. All right, let's let that right leg come all the way to the floor and just relax there for a moment. But that's what it looks like. And if you're ever curious about it, you can Google the chakra system and learn a little bit more. Each of the chakras governs a different part of your body. It's a little bit involved to get into just with our video today, but if you are curious about it, go ahead and look that up on Google and see what you can discover for yourself about the chakras. But right there, this is a chart that my daughter made for me with all the colors. So it starts at the base, is red, which we were working on. We're in the sacral chakra right now, orange. We're going to move to yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Those are all the colors, okay? Anyway, I just wanted to point that out since I can see here that you can see that in the background. Okay, let's come back into having both knees bent here. All right, so I'm going to get the people who are down on their backs started with this, and I'll show you how you can get the same movement when you're seated on a chair. So be patient just for a moment. All right, those on their backs, I want you to have your feet aligned, please, to your knees and to your hips. Tuck your chin toward your chest. And as you're ready to inhale, start to lift your hips and your buttocks off the floor. And you may not roll up all that high, that's okay. Exhale and lower it down. These are called bridge roll-ups. Take a few, okay? And I'm going to show the people on their chair how they can do this. All right, so if you're seated on your chair, place your hands on your chair, and you're going to come out to the edge a little bit, okay? Your feet are going to be on the floor here, like this, and you're going to try to lift up your hips and your buttocks a little bit and lower it back down. Now just be really careful that the chair doesn't, move away from you. That would be not so great for you to fall down onto the floor. So kind of feel, hopefully you're not on a real slippery surface here while you're doing this, and have your feet planted firmly on the floor. Okay? All right, so everybody, if you're seated on your chair, just have a rest for a moment. If you're on your back, go ahead and rest down on your back for a moment. And the pose, bridge pose, we're going to be holding that. So again, if you're on your chair, go back out to the edge, plant your feet firmly onto the floor, and see what you can do about lifting up a little bit. If you're down on your back, start to roll yourself up. All of us need to pay attention to make sure that the knees don't open out to the side. That puts a lot of pressure on your lower back, so keep your knees in alignment with your hip bones. And just take a couple of nice breaths here. You should be able to feel this in your legs and in your core. This is a really great core strengthener. So as you're ready, give yourself another breath. And let's lower down now on the exhale. Those on your chairs, come back into a seated position. Good. And go ahead and just rock your knees here for a moment. Good. Coming back to the center as you're ready. All right. For anyone who wants, they can, remember, pause the video, hold, go back into any of the poses, do them for a little bit longer if you want. Okay. All right. So let's now draw our knees in toward our chest, and I'm going to have you cross your right ankle over your left. You can do this if you're seated in your chair. Just have your legs out in front of you and cross one ankle over the other. Okay, let's lift those feet to the sky. And I realize we haven't done a lot of hamstring work yet, so you might feel a little tight if you're down on your back trying to lift the legs. Okay, and then give yourself a pelvic tilt. So flatten the small of the back down. You can see that I move slightly. Okay, so when I'm not tucking the small of my back down, my legs move away a little bit, but when I flatten them, it kind of curls the hips up a little. All right, so those down on their backs, bring your hands behind the back of your head. Let the elbows fall out to the sides. Keep your pelvic tilt here. Take a breath. And on the exhale, I'm just going to have you lift the head and the shoulders. We're not curling, we're just lifting. You hold here, and I'm going to show the folks who are on their chairs what they can do. All right? So if you're seated on your chair, you have your legs out in front of you. Hold on to the chair, scoot out to the edge, and see what you can do about lifting the feet. Might not get very far, that's okay. Okay, so that will be your position. Now those on the chair, feel free to just try the lift and then the lower. The lift and the lower, the holding of the legs will be a little bit harder. Okay, so let's everybody release. Good, those down on their backs, your back down on the floor. Good, uncross your ankles and let's cross the left ankle over the right. You're down on your back, you're gonna flatten the small of your back. It kind of curls your hips up a little bit. Bring those hands behind the back of the head if you release there, and just lift through the head and shoulders. Now it's okay if you are holding for a shorter amount of time than I am. Just do what you can. Good, so helping with the lower abdominal area through the pelvis, which is where our sacral chakra is, and starting to move up into that solar plexus. Okay, let's everybody release. Nice, uncross the legs, release those arms. The knees are going to bend and the feet can come onto the mat once again. So take that as a nice slow transition. Good. All right. When you're ready, those on their backs are going to roll to the side and come on upright. And let's come into a nice seated position. Soles of the feet are together. And we're going to move into the solar plexus and the heart. Okay? So same thing, if you're seated on your chair, you can move yourself out to the edge of the chair a little bit more. And we're going to take a nice inhale. On the exhalation, bring the chin toward the chest, let yourself round back. Now hold on to your knees or your shins or your legs somewhere, those who are seated on the floor, so you don't roll backwards. And then let's come up tall on the inhale. Exhale, drop the chin, round it back. Inhale, tall. Good, take a few more. And last time, let's hold this rounded position and give yourself a few breaths. Now you're going to keep your chin tucked down. I'm just going to lift a little bit so you can hear me better. But with your arms stretching forward, think about the position of your shoulder blades in the back of your body. They're kind of reaching forward. That creates some really nice space in the back body for you to send your breath into. So see what you can do with that. Good, as you're ready to inhale, bring yourself back into a nice tall spine. As you exhale now, bring your elbows out to the sides and come flat. Good, we're going to keep our chin parallel to the floor, not dropping down. Parallel, that's flat back. Come on up on the inhale and exhale yourself forward. Again, trying to move here with a flat back. And let's take one more time. Holding here in your flat back forward bend and breathing. Good. Give yourself another breath, please. And as you're ready, inhale back to tall spine. Good. Bring those knees to the center for a moment and just kind of wiggle them out. And then we'll come back into our diamond position. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. We're going to take some seated rotations here now, okay? If you're sitting on your chair, you can try this, see how it feels. I will show you a modification when we're standing, all right? So take your breath, and on the exhale, drop the chin, let yourself round back. Inhale toward your left knee and out over flat, the space out in front. Exhale around to the right and drop it back. Good. All right, so if you want to, and you're seated on your chair and that doesn't really work for you, sorry, I'm going to be out of the picture with my head, sorry. You can do some of these pelvic rotations. This is just the same movement that we're doing while we're seated on the floor. And you may be attempting this on your chair. It might not feel as great as if you were to stand, so if that works better for you, please feel free to stand. Okay. Good. The next time that you're leaning back, let's pause. And as you're ready to inhale, go toward that right knee and forward. Exhale around to the left and back. Good. So again, more rotation as I mentioned earlier. When you're trying to open up those energy centers, it's great to do rotation. As you're leaning back this time, pause here and come on back into tall spine. Good. Those knees can come together. We're going to extend our legs out long. All right. So if you came to standing for doing your pelvic rotations, let us sit back on the chair, or if you're down on the floor, you're going to have the legs extended with the feet flexed. Okay. So those who are on the chair are going to hold with their left hand on the chair. So the underside, okay? If you're on the floor, bring your left hand to the floor. Inhale with the right arm, and on the exhale, lean to the left. Now you're not going to let that right hip or buttock roll up at all. Okay, inhale, lift, and exhale, release the right arm. We're going to go all to the left as we begin. And then we'll change sides. Good, so we're moving into the heart chakra now. If you need to have a little bend into your legs, if you're seated on the floor and need a bend in your legs for those hamstrings, you can bend into the legs and just have your feet still flexed, okay? All right, good. So let's bring that right hand back onto the floor or to the side of you if you're seated on your chair. Tap your legs out. And place that right hand, that's going to be our supporting hand now. Inhale with the left arm. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale, lift, and release. Good. Go ahead and flow. Let yourself focus on the side body. So in other words, if you're extending that arm and when you lean, if you're curling down toward the floor, try not to go as far. Okay, we want to keep that left shoulder nice and open here. Take one more flow. Awesome. Good. And release. Okay, release those legs again with a little tapping. Maybe roll your shoulders some. Okay. All right. Now, if you're seated on the floor, you're going to keep your left leg out long, but bend into your right knee and bring that right foot into your thigh. If you're seated on your chair, just keep your knees bent. You're going to do your movement from here, okay? And your upper body will do the same movement that we're doing. Okay, so keep a flex, please, into that left heel. We're going to lift the arms. That's your inhale. On the exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, twist. Again to the right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. This time, let's hold our twist to the right. So those who are on the floor are placing that right hand to the floor behind them. Excuse me, we're using that left hand against the knee to kind of prop our spine up nice and tall. If you're on your chair, feel free to drape your arm, your right arm, over the back of the chair. Okay, so you would be more here, and use your hand against your knee. Or if you're really flexible in that spine, you could hold the side of your chair with your left hand, okay? Good. Important thing is here we're breathing. And we're going to take one more inhale. As we exhale, release through the mouth. And then untwist yourself. And let's get ready to go into the other side. Okay? Extending through that right leg, left foot comes into the thigh. If you're on your chair, your knees are just bent. Feet on the mat or on the floor. Inhale, lift, please. Exhale, let's twist to the left. Inhale, lift. Exhale to the left. Good, two more. Inhale, lift. And left. Inhale, lift. And to the left. Good, we're holding here now. Again, figuring out for yourself how you can be comfortable in this position. So right leg extended, heel flexed. Utilize your right hand against your left knee. And again, if you're seated on your chair, maybe that left hand or left arm drapes across the back of the chair, and you might be able to hold with your right hand. Either that or just use your knees, okay? Hand against the knees. And we're breathing. Give yourself one more inhale. As you exhale, send out through the mouth. Good, and then let's inhale and release our twist. Awesome. Those who are down on the floor, on their mats, are going to bring themselves onto hands and knees. And if you're seated in a chair, you can come to standing. Okay, so those on the mats, align your hands out in front of your shoulders. Take a nice breath. And on the exhale, extend back. Notice how we're getting this nice stretch. You're going to try to bring the hips and buttocks down toward the heels and your forehead toward the floor. Good. Inhale, come back up to your extended table. Exhale, press back. Keep that flow going, and when you feel like you're ready to, go ahead and sink yourself down into your child's pose. If you're standing behind your chair, you're going to do the same thing. So move the chair out, take your breath, and on the exhale, bring your hips back. Inhale, pretend I'm standing, okay? Exhale, press yourself back. those of you who are standing feel ready, you can have your hands on the back of the chair, your legs in the straightish position, and holding. This will be your child's pose, okay? Good. Let's give ourselves one more breath, please. And as you're ready, come back either into table or just standing with your hands on the chair. Okay, take your breath. Those on the floor, you need to widen out a little bit with your hands. Take your inhale here. And on the exhale, I'm going to have you lean forward a little bit. Inhale back up to table. Exhale, lean forward, drop those hips a little. Now, people with bad backs really need to pay attention here. You're going to want to keep that spine more in a straight position, so just a little bit forward. If you're healthier there, drop the pelvis a little bit further forward, okay? Your body's going to tell you right away what works and what doesn't. So if you're standing at the back of your chair, you're doing the same movement. Good. Let's pause as we're leaning in. Make sure you're breathing here. And good, release. Okay, so if you're on hands and knees, you're back at table pose. If you're standing, you can release your hands from the chair. And those who are down on hands and knees are going to come tall on their knees here. Good. Give yourself a little bit of space in between your knees. And if you're standing in this, for this pose, separate your feet a little bit, almost out as wide as your shoulders to give yourself a little bit of balance. Okay. And we're just going to now work up into the area of the throat. As you exhale, drop your chin toward the chest. Inhale, lift the chin to the sky. I'm going to sink down onto my heels, but you're going to stay tall. I just don't want to have my head chopped off here. So you're either standing with feet wide, lifting and lowering the chin, kneeling tall on your knees, lifting and lowering the chin. Take your time. Move gently here. The next time that you have your chin tucked down toward the chest, hold here, please. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, sweep your chin toward one shoulder, lift it so it's parallel to the top of your shoulder, and then exhale, releasing to the shoulder and then down to the center of the chest. Inhale, sweep to the other side. Good. So just doing these little chin sways here very often can help us work in and work out all of that tension at the neck. But certainly if you have had any neck issues or surgery, you're going to be moving even more cautiously than the rest of us. Next time that the chin is down to the chest, pause here and give yourself a big cleansing breath. So draw in through your nose, exhale through the mouth. Beautiful. Okay, those who are tall on their knees are going to bring the hands back down. Okay, those who are standing are going to move away from their chair a little bit, and I'm going to show you what the modification is for standing. All right. So if you're here on hands and knees, I want you to place your right hand into the center of your mat. And with the your left hand at the center of the mat. With your right arm, you're going to lift up. And on the exhale, this is called threaded needle. Bring it underneath. And this is going to be your movement. Okay, so continue with that as long or as short a time as you'd like. If you are standing, pretend I'm standing here. You're going to have your feet wide, turn your toes out a little bit, and just start to give yourself this nice flowing twist. If you need to, if this, while you're standing, starts to make you feel at all dizzy or lightheaded, first stop for a moment. You're going to keep your head at center while you do this. Okay, otherwise you can let your head move with this, okay? All right, those who are down in table pose, let's bring that right hand back down to the floor and bring the right hand into the center so we can change sides. Inhale, lift with the left. Exhale, thread it under. And let's give ourselves some flow on this side. Good. So this movement here is really working all of the energy centers along the spine. Those on hands and knees, bring that left hand back down to the floor. Good. Those who are standing can come to stillness. All right. And then once again, if you're down on the floor, come to tall knees. I'm just going to sit down on my heels so you can see me a little better in the frame of the video here. Okay. If you are standing and would like to come sit on your chair, you're welcome to do that as well, okay? So bring your arms out in front of you, please. Cross your left arm over your right. And from here, bend all the way, reach your arms and hands all the way around. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what this looks like where I'm holding, okay? So whatever your position is right now, whether you're tall on your knees or you're standing or you're sitting on your chair, we can do this in all of these positions. So we're just going to work on squeezing and cleansing the lungs a little bit here. When you're ready, inhale, lift those elbows, and on the exhale, press them down. And lift. We're going to take 4 with this left arm on the top. Here's 2. And 3. And last one. Good. Inhale, stretch those arms out in front. Exhale, cross your right arm over the left, come back into the same hold. And again, I'm just sitting back on my heels for being able to be in the frame of the video. Okay, so when you're ready, inhale, lift. And wow, you might automatically notice, exhale, lower, that this side feels different. And it might be in a good way or it might not be in a good way. I'm a lot tighter on my right shoulder, so this is a little more intense on this side for me. So breathe it out. Let's take one more. Good. Okay, from here, let those arms release down. We're going to take a nice big stretch up, lifting those fingers up toward the sky. And now exhale, bring the arms out at shoulder height. So again, this is being done regardless of what position you're in, whether you're kneeling tall on the knees, you're sitting, or you're standing. Good. Bring the hands together out in front and place the hands to the heart. Pause here for a moment. Good. For those who are on their knees, hands and knees, we're going to bring the hands back down to the mat. If you're standing, come into a seat on your chair, please. And then let us bring ourselves into a seated position if you're on the floor. And we're going to work our way to our backs now. As we lower all the way down. Good. Draw those knees in toward the chest and give yourself a little rocking. Good. If it's too intense to have the knees into the chest, you're welcome to have your feet on the mat and to rock here with the feet down. Come on back to stillness, please. And if you had the feet up, bring your feet back onto the floor. If you're sitting in your chair, you're going to bring your arms out in front of you and make a gentle fist and start to rotate those wrists. Go a few times each way. If you're on your back, you're going to lift your arms to the sky and do the same thing. Just opening up all the extremities in a way for us to have a good exchange with our energy. Make sure you go a few times each way, please. Good. Come to stillness and allow those arms to come down to your sides. And then just pause while you do a quick little body scan. Does everything feel comfortable in your body? Is there more movement you feel you might need? If so, take a moment to give yourself any movement that would help you to feel calm in your body. And then as you're ready, those sitting in chairs can just place their hands in their lap. Those who are on the floor, get comfortable in whatever position works best for you. Close your eyes and we'll take a moment here to just be in stillness. Now again here, because this is recorded, you're welcome to maybe turn off the recording if you want to stay here for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes and give yourself a nice long shavasana. Let us now picture ourselves surrounded by white light, feeling totally loved and at peace. Let that just settle in for a moment for yourself. Some of us, if we share our home with others, have come out of our routine of being able to leave our homes to go visit friends, family. And so the energy within our home may be feeling a little bit tense as we're kind of locked away with those we're locked away with. So if you're feeling annoyance, frustration, anger at those that you share your space with, now picture this person or these people surrounded with white light. And picture yourself feeling that energy to them, toward them. Feeling more tolerant, feeling more connected and peaceful with those we share our space with. If you're solo during this pandemic and hopefully reaching out with phone calls and text messages and emails perhaps, maybe you've dared to get on board with the new Zoom app, okay, reaching out and feeling that connection remotely with others. Again, feel the connection with those you want to be connected with, and feel this nice exchange of peaceful energy. I invite you all now to affirm that oneness is the essence of spiritual love. Feel free, if you'd like to take a little more time in your resting pose, to stop the video and to just be there. Otherwise, I'm going to prompt you now to begin to bring movement to your body, please, starting with your fingers and your toes. And then moving more deeply into your wrists and your ankles. Giving yourself a bend at your knees if your legs were elongated while you're down on your back. Start to rock yourself from side to side. Good. As we bring this movement back to our body, we're sending a message to our brain that it's time to release our resting pose for now. Allow yourself to roll to your side if you're down on the mat, and to join me when you're ready in a seated position. Once we're here, let us all hold our hands to the heart and thank ourselves for our effort. I do invite you all to reach out to someone today, to make a connection, especially if you're feeling lonely and you're solo inside your home without having any other physical presence there. Reach out to someone. Make a connection. And as we close our practice, let us bring our hands to the forehead, acknowledging the goodness and light in one another. Namaste. Thank you again for joining me today. Kala Parker from Pine Hills. Tune in. We are going to be starting to change our format here. I know that Sheila has been reaching out to you for offering classes via Zoom. So trust me when I say that I am the least technical person that you could possibly know. And I've been doing my classes here on recorded videos, uploading them to YouTube, which is where you're making the connection right now. But pretty soon we're going to be going to the Zoom app beginning at the beginning of May. Okay, so this may be our last recorded video, I believe. We may have one more week, I'm not 100% sure, but look for the information to come from Sheila. And please trust me when I say just give the app a try. It's really very simple. If I can figure it out, I feel like anybody can, because I am really bad at this stuff. So give it a try. It's the way that we're going to all be able to be connected for, at least through the month of May. And if we're not able to be back together, seeing each other face to face, we'll be extending that into the month of June. So give it a try, and just trust that you can learn something new. And the app itself is really simple to learn. And I know that Sheila's going to be giving you some more information on that. So I hope to see you via the Zoom app next time. Thanks so much. Have a great afternoon and weekend. Bye now.